Requisition Entry. The video will be covering the Requisition Entry module in Munis. By entering a requisition, you are requesting funds to make a purchase. As soon as the requisition is entered with an expense account, the funds are set aside or encumbered in the general ledger account. After the requisition is released, it goes through the approval process. Once the workflow has been completed, it is converted into a purchase order. The PO is sent to the vendor as authorization to provide the goods or services as requested. The Requisition Entry module can be accessed in a couple of different ways. Under the Tyler menu and under the Munis section, you can click on Departmental Functions. A drop-down menu will appear and you can choose Requisition Entry. If you ever have trouble finding your program, you can type all or some of the program name you are looking for in the search bar. Click Enter. All programs containing the words or letters entered will appear as a drop-down menu. Find the correct program name and click on it to access the program. The Requisition Entry screen has multiple sections. The main information section is the top section and includes the department number, the requisition number, and the general description of the order. The middle section contains the vendor information and the shipping information. The line details section contains information about the specific item or items you wish to purchase. The line items at the bottom of the screen will automatically populate as the user adds items to the requisition. You will not do anything to this section on this page. Lastly, the workflow section gives details about the approvers assigned to a requisition and the status of approval as it goes through the workflow process. Prior to beginning, remember that when entering a requisition in Munis, it is important to use all caps. Munis is case sensitive. Also, remember that the tab key is best for moving through the various fields within the requisition. To create a new requisition, click the Add button on the toolbar. This is a green plus icon. Once you click Add, the accessible fields will be white. The department location will default in automatically. This can be changed if someone handles multiple departments or locations. The fiscal year and the requisition number fields will also default in. The general commodity must always be completed. We have 4 general commodity codes that we use. None is the most frequently used. Refer to the how-to guide for more information on the different codes and their uses. The general description can be broad, but it is best to be as specific as possible. Tab through the Needed By, Entered, and PO expiration fields. The status at the top will represent the current status of the requisition. When it is created, allocated, released, and converted, for example, the status will change. All new requisitions will have a status of created. Once all line items have been entered and assigned an account code, the status will change to allocated. If you know your vendor number, you can enter it here. The name, address, and other information will populate. Remember that you can access the vendor inquiry program to search for vendors and find out information about the vendor, including this number, and if they are active and in good standing with the district. If you do not know the vendor number and need to look up a vendor within the Requisition Entry program, you can do so by clicking on the ellipsis. You can choose to search for the vendors by alpha or by name. Alpha is often a shortened version of the name. Because Munis requires exact match, if you are not certain of the full vendor name, you might use the wildcard or asterisk. By using this, it will include names that have words before and or after the word or words you are searching. For this example, I will use staples. All vendors with staples as the first word appear on the screen. You may note that more than one of these can have the same vendor number. This is because they have multiple addresses under the same number. Choose the appropriate vendor. You can choose the vendor by selecting it and clicking the green check mark, Accept button, or by double-clicking on the vendor. Tab through to the shipping information. This will default into the same department or location from the main section. You can change this if necessary. For example, if you are ordering something that will be shipped to the warehouse or to a specific school or department, you can enter the location code. If you do not know the location code, you can search for it using the ellipsis. Note that you can search and filter using the options at the bottom of the screen. Once you have made your selection, you can click the green Accept button. If you no longer wish to be in this screen, you can hit the Back button. The location information will auto-populate, and you can tab through to the reference. This is not a required field. However, it might be helpful for things like noting the name of the person who will be receiving it. When you click Tab, it takes you to the Terms and Miscellaneous tab. You can familiarize yourself with the fields, but most of them are not used. The Miscellaneous section will show the name of the person who converted the requisition and the purchase order number once conversion has happened. Please do not change the buyer information on this screen. To save and continue to the line item detail, click the Accept button with the green check mark. This will bring you to the line detail screen. Each line detail screen represents an item you would like to purchase or the shipping fees associated with your order. If there is more than one item, you will need to add multiple records on this screen. By default, you are brought to the first item you are requesting in Add mode. Quantity defaults as 1. This can be changed to the number of items being requested if more than one. Tab through Commodity, Inventory Item, Location, and Type. Always enter a detailed description. If there is an item number or catalog number, put this number first. It is important to note that you should always refer to the accounting manual for policies regarding things like travel or copies so that you can enter them appropriately. Tab to the unit price and enter the price of the item. When you click Tab, the line item total will automatically populate with the total of items being ordered multiplied by the unit price. UOM stands for Unit of Measure. Choose the appropriate UOM for your order. These include things like each, box, or case. Each will be the default. Tab through the remaining items. Until you reach the account code. For the account code, you will enter the GL account code that you are charging the item or items to. If you need to use multiple account codes for one item, then you can do this by entering the first account code, adjusting the amount to be charged to that account, and tabbing to the next line to enter an additional code. You can use as many as necessary or as few as one. When you click Tab, the description of that line item will automatically populate. If you do not need to make any additional changes, you can click Enter or Accept. If you do not have a valid account code, or if the account code does not have enough funds to cover the amount, you will receive an error and will not be able to move forward until a budget transfer is completed. If you have no additional items, you can choose the back button to return to the main screen. If you wish to add additional items, you can click Add. Enter the new item following the same steps you did on the previous item. If you are using the same account code that you used for the first item, you can click Copy GL Account at the top of the screen. It's the blue skittle. When you click this, it will automatically populate the last used account code. If you are done with this line item, you can click Accept. As an example, I will add another item and divide the cost between multiple account codes. Remember to always type in all caps. After entering the first account number, I tab to the amount and change the amount to the specific amount charged to that line item. I check Tab, and I'm able to enter another account line. It will automatically default in the remaining amount. If you are using another account line, you can change this. If you are done, you can click Accept. If at any time you need to update a line item, you can click Update at the top of the screen. The fields will highlight again in white. You can change, add, or delete any items that you need to. As an example, I have changed this so that I can add another account code. As you can see, I've entered a partial account code. I do not know the object number that I want to use, and I'm uncertain about it. So I've entered the items that I do know, and I will use the ellipsis to see what options it provides. As you can see, it will bring up everything that has those beginning account codes with the following object codes. I can search and filter to find the one that I need. I've made my selection and I've finished this line item, so I will hit Accept. I do not need to add any additional line items, so I will hit Back to return to the main screen. Review all of the information for accuracy. Note that the status has changed to Allocated. If I had a line item that did not have an account code, this would say Created. If the status is not allocated, you will not be able to complete the next step, which is to release the requisition to workflow. Also note that you can now see the line items you've entered on the main screen. When you have reviewed it for accuracy and you're ready, you can click on the Release skittle at the top of the screen to release the item into workflow. Once it's released, note that the status changes to a 6 and is released. The requisition will now go through a workflow process. For more information on workflow, you can refer to the how-to guide or to the video Understanding Workflow. You can click Add to create another requisition or click the back button to exit the program.